Benton here. Top of the trucker hell morning to you. That does remind me though, let's do our reading for the morning. Or let me do my reading. Not everybody would want to be included, I suppose. Figure out the lighting. Our trusty notebook. Where's the other phone? Thought you prepared for this, sir. Here, let's do ambient lighting instead of dome lighting. Yeah, that's better. Much more better. What's up, Razvan? I parked at the chicken coop. I'm at the scales. Let's see. Actually, let me grab this. Let's grab this tablet. Yeah, in 30 minutes I need to go on duty, and then after I log my pre-trip, I'm going to the truck stop. The company doesn't want me to start my logs until I have a load, but after what they did to me yesterday, and I don't think you were around for all the fun on my last stream, Razvan. It was I've been traumatized. I don't know if I want to go. I don't even know if I want to talk about it. And I'm joking, you know, I'm not traumatized, but good Lord. Yeah, give me a second here. We're going to do, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. My cup runneth over. Oh, wait a minute. No, we jumped ahead. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea! Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. What a blessing. What a blessing. Oh, good, Razvan, listen to it. I think it's privated now, but I don't really want to have stuff on the channel with me driving. So I think it's privated. But yeah, that was a wild time, and I'm not that far from the truck stop, but between the $22 I was going to end up paying to park and then having to go in and, you know, get the, you know, wait in line most likely and come back with the slip and tape it up into the window. I forget about these scales, so I got pulled into the scale and said, fuck it, I'll just park here, why not? Yeah, amen, indeed. Yeah, said, why not park here now? Yesterday I was annoyed and frustrated. I had allowed myself to become annoyed and frustrated, so I was wishing for an inspection. And then I turned the truck off at a certain point last night and had to turn it back on because the DOT man was going over the loudspeaker, you know, telling drivers to get their, you know, bring all your papers and, you know, your registrations and license, bring that in for inspection. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get out of here before they get here, but, you know, I doubt they inspect me, but if they do, it's all right. That would be funny, though, to, you know, go to pick up, drive an hour, you know, what I did yesterday, and then come back an hour after being at the place for an hour, and then, you know, get inspected and put out of service. That'd be a trip. Oh, and I do need to somewhat conserve my bandwidth, so I probably won't be live quite as much. Although I can, maybe I'll buy the StreamYard. I got paid. That's the main thing. I'm in the money. I'm in the money. Yeah, we got paid, so. And now we know that, you know, our direct deposit is set up properly, and we're all there, so that's a good thing. Not doing the job. Maybe I will go back up front out of laziness. I'll bring the tablet. Yay, yeah. I got 2,700 miles on the first check, and I don't remember how many miles I've already driven on the second check, but yesterday was a almost entirely wasted day. Almost. That lighting's not going to work, is it? Ambient light. There it is. Oh, left the other phone. Dang it. Already had my eggs. So that's good. We got that out of the way. I must say these the ones I have this time are the they don't seem to have as much saturated fat as the ones I had before, and not quite as satisfying and filling, but a good problem to have, I suppose. But yeah, as I suspected, this YouTube app uses way more of the data plan than StreamYard does. StreamYard's much more efficient. Now I'm using more video, obviously, but even when I use the video on StreamYard, I believe it's more efficient. President getting cold feet now says he's open to negotiate. Well, my internet don't work worth a dang out here. Oh, here we go. Trump open to tariff negotiations. Well, that was the whole point, wasn't it? Contradicting White House aides. I was always under the impression that was the tariffs were mainly designed to work as bargaining chips. Markets dropped the day after President Donald Trump imposed a far-reaching reciprocal tariff policy, including a 10% baseline tariff on almost every country. And remember, again, official fiction, if we treat all of this like it's real, for better or for worse, what the stock market is doing in real time, is often used as like the main hallmark of a good economy in some ways, at least. And the stock market, a lot of folks are not aware. The Dow Jones up, and maybe they also included the Nasdaq, well, the S&P 500. I'm not sure though, but whatever they were talking about was up 55% under Biden. So if it's a falling market and it continues to fall under Trump and these tariffs, Trump with his personality, again, official fiction, in my view, it's going to be difficult for him to sustain day after day after day of losses. But again, if it's an actors on the world stage, he'll just have to deal with it, right? But it certainly reflects, directly on him. And people like Trump with that sort of psychology, are going to do everything in their power to kick ass and take names and be seen, in a proper light. The plan slaps much steeper tariff rates on many countries, including 34% on China, 20% on the EU, 40% on Vietnam, 46% on Vietnam, 32% on Taiwan. Of course, a lot of this has already been heard. Well, and then, why is this the thing? So, now it's like the meme society. So the first thing, that wasn't even the article, like that was the what you need to know bullet points section. So first we have a short paragraph. I like analyzing these news articles. The weekend is looking like a breeze for Trump. They have to sort of set up how to feel about things, right? How to feel about what you hear, set the stage. If not for stock market investors hammered by the fallout of his new his new tariffs. But then look at the second paragraph. This is a meme society. Like, why is this even a thing? The White House posted a tweet showing Trump walking with his hair, tie, and suit jacket blown back from the wind with the italicized message almost Friday. Right? Like what? It's just astonishing to me that this is the sort of thing people respond to. If I was actually, thank you, the hedge. I appreciate. I'll take that as a compliment. Although I haven't seen Willem Dafoe lately, it in fact may not be a compliment. That could be a movie star nonetheless. But let's get off of my looks for a moment. But good morning. We're getting the day started in top of the trucker hell morning to you. Oh yes, Razvan is in trucker hell. He's loading his own trailer at the warehouse, which in the past warehouse would have employed people to load the truck, but he's out there loading the truck because, thank you, the hedge, complimentary. Because why would the corporations, as we know, all a corporation can do is seek to become more and more efficient over time in order to grow the stock price, make more money for the investors. The executives are trying to earn ever larger bonuses. So part of that is Razvan drives the truck and now he loads the truck. So, why should these warehouses have loaders and warehouse staff when the truck driver apparently, can be convinced and cajoled, where'd my water go, into doing that for the company for no pay, by the way. And I worked yesterday for what may end up being no pay. Hypothetically, when 8:30 rolls around this morning, they will owe me layover pay, if we even have layover pay. I forgot to ask. Well, if they're checking out my looks, I might have to turn the better lighting on again. Let's try the sleeper dome. Actually, let's try the regular dome light. Yeah, that's the ticket. As good as it's gonna get. Yeah, expect this to become a trend. Yeah. I don't know. Have you seen these American truck drivers? I don't know. Half of them probably not physically capable of operating even a motorized, hand truck. But jacket blown back from the wind with the italicized message almost Friday. Whatever that means. The tweet's jaunty vibe contrasted with a metaphorical bloodbath. Stakes high on Wall Street. The major stock indices all suffered big drops. And that's that's the whole thing. And Republicans in name only will go along with whatever they need to go along with, so-called riots, to make sure that everything moves along as the system wants. 8,000 active duty soldiers. That's interesting. The Don sells $5 million citizenship card. What the hell is that? Army planners are weighing force reductions of up to 90,000 active duty soldiers. The Army is quietly considering a sweeping reduction of up to 90,000 active duty troops, a move that underscores mounting fiscal pressures at the Pentagon and a broader shift in military strategy away from Europe and counterterrorism, according to 3 defense officials familiar with the deliberations. So a leaked story, internally leaked story. Internal discussions are exploring trimming the force to between 360,000 and 420,000, down from its current level of 450,000. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of troops that don't do much of anything. The potential cuts would mark one of the most dramatic force reductions in years, as military planners aim to reshape the Army from a blunt conventional force into what they hope could be a more agile, specialized instrument, better suited to serve the banks. Better suited for future conflicts. It's unclear whether any cuts are being mulled for the Army Reserve or National Guard. The move comes after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth directed the Pentagon to come up with plans to cut 8% from the budget. And this is why when all those bozos down at the pawn shop or wherever I was in Arkansas when Obama first got elected, and they were, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, Obama's about to cut the military. No, they don't do that under Democrats typically. No, they'll wait till a Republican is in there to cut the military, because that's what's associated with Republicans is a strong military. So that's the time to go the other way and cut it. See, little misdirection. A little misdirection. You will be able to buy a gold card for $1 million, similar to a green card. You see what Trump did there. Yeah, interesting. The article would not load because my internet is not so great out here. Psychological warfare. Veterans fired from federal government speak out at informal hearing. Then the anti-MAGA hat goes global. It says, "Make America Go Away." Yeah, it's a red hat. It says, "Make America." It's not going to show it. Yeah, "Make America Go Away," it says. Yeah. Again, the meme society. Dollar tumbles. And part of this is I'm pretty sure the powers that be are looking to weaken the dollar. And the dollar's been, in spite of everybody talking about the collapse of the dollar, or the dollar crashing, the dollar's been very, very, very strong. And the dollar weakened broadly on Thursday. In fact, the dollar had apparently reached parity with the euro recently, which is, I believe, unprecedented. The euro is typically higher. I believe, unless I have that backwards. Might have to look that up. While the euro rallied after, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, after President Donald Trump announced harsher than expected tariffs on U.S. trading partners, unsettling markets as investors flock to safe havens such as the yen and the Swiss franc. Okay. The yen, really? The Japanese yen? They flock into the Japanese yen. Okay. Remember, Japan finally went from a negative interest rate to actually either zero or slightly positive for the first time in like 26 years. And that happened, I don't know, like a year or two, maybe a couple of years ago. So they're leaving the dollar for the yen. Okay. I don't know if I believe that. I'm not an expert, so maybe they are. EU to fine Musk $1 billion for breaking disinfo laws, ? And then we have this is a completely made up article, I can already tell you. The Guardian, it said, let's see, Drudge's headline is "Confessions of a Secret Tesla Driver. Trapped with my Tesla, or trapped with a Tesla, my dream car has become a living nightmare. The secret Tesla driver." And this is made up. This is not a real person. And then it's got their whole story. AI, I guess, wrote this. "After our children left home, my wife and I decided to treat ourselves and buy a new car for a driving holiday in Europe. We'd been driving a family estate," that's a sedan, I believe, for us Americans, "a family estate car for years, loading it up with kids and making trips to and from universities. But we wanted something for ourselves. As a surprise, she booked a test drive," because remember, folks, in this propaganda machine, we can't have a man taking agency over a woman, right? So he can't go schedule the test drive because now he's removed her autonomy, her authority over herself, and her agency, also known as misogynistic, sexist oppression. He's oppressing her, in a misogynistic fashion if he goes down and schedules the test drive. So in this article, the only way this can be written is that she has to book the test drive. And see, this is a lot of the things I think a lot of you folks don't recognize, right? It's my opinion. I think this is what a lot of folks fail to recognize. You will never read an article like this and the man goes and books the test drive for him and his wife. It will never be. If you look at advertising and movies and TV, how often is it just a regular old married man and he's driving the car and wifey's in the passenger seat? Or is it almost always the woman driving? What I see now In public, it's almost always the woman driving because, first movies, TV, commercials propagates this notion. So when I was, doing all of the driving, back when I had yet to retire from dating and relationships, probably TV commercials and movies and TV was promoting, well, the woman's always driving. The man never drives, right? And then so eventually, it's gotten to the woman always drives. It's not, I mean, it's not 50-50. It's not a mixture. It's not like, well, sometimes the guy drives. So now, some of that is a lot of these dudes are losers, don't have licenses, too many tickets, et cetera, et cetera. It was unlike, oh, and see, now he's acting like the female. It was unlike any car I'd been in before. Wowie, wowie. I thought, wow, this is amazing. While the wifey's confidently conducting the test drive, stoically, right? And he's like, wowie, wowie, the future. Yeah. It felt like the future, a computer on wheels that was constantly updating with new features. This is completely this is not real, man. I can't say I feel that way now. And many people seem to share that view. That's right, white slow boy. Tesla sales figures declined, blah, blah, blah. Elon Musk, yada, yada. I had no complaints about the car itself. It was quiet, it was large, and importantly for us, as an electric vehicle, it was environmentally friendly. And I know, I already see where your brains are leaping to. Again, this is narrative official fiction. It is an electric car is environmentally friendly, even though we know it's not. But in the zeitgeist, in the official fiction, it's considered to be that. Right. Just like giving illegals, so-called illegals, a driver's license is seen as safer by the state. And people say, what are you talking about? How is it safer to allow illegals to drive? No, wait a minute. No, they're already driving. The system promotes the idea that if a person is a licensed driver, that's safer for the motoring public than unlicensed drivers. See, people miss this little nuance. Oh, no, absolutely, Razvan. Razvan believes it. No, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying you will never see the article written because we know some percentage of the time it's going to be the man that books the test drive, right? Even if that's a shrinking percent. What I'm saying is if 100 articles refer to something along these lines, 100% of the time it will be the woman acting boldly in the world with agency. Because for her man, but if she does that on behalf of her husband, that's fine because he's a man, and it's completely fine if his agency is removed. See, this is the psychological programming and mechanisms that people have accepted. Versus if he's the one boldly leading her, he has removed her agency, and that is, under feminism and sexism, that's just not allowed. So equality would be it goes both ways, right? Right. Wouldn't it? But as we see, this is the society itself is sexist against men, clearly, right? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, Razvan. I'm saying what doesn't happen is you never read the article where it's the rare time that the man goes and books the test drive, and then he's stoic and she's going, wowie, wowie, the future, man. Some people go for the sports car when they gain a new sense of freedom in later life, but he can't risk the looking like a midlife crisis. So no sports car. But I had done a bit of research and wanted to move away from diesel and petrol. Oh, wait a minute. Almost time to start the clock. 8 more minutes. Despite people voicing concerns about a lack of charging infrastructure, I found Tesla's network to be wonderful. What's up, Galapagos? Yeah. I mostly know about your islands from Ren and Stimpy. I found Tesla's network to be wonderful. We drove all over Europe, driving to Switzerland one year, Italy another, and last summer to the south of France. At one point, sorry, I know it was stupid, I can't resist. At one point, we even packed in 5 adults and all their suitcases after an airport pickup. I would consider myself left-leaning. Oh, really? We couldn't tell. But buying an electric car was not a huge political statement for us at the time, but rather an acknowledgement of the way things are going to be in the future. Little did I know how our choice would be politicized for us 6 years down the line. In the years of owning the car, I remember a neighbor saying, "What is it like to own a car built by a madman?" Man, this is what I don't even want to be here. Hell realm, I don't even want to be here anymore. I can go through trial after trial after trial. I can go after tribulation after tribulation after tribulation. I can get spiritually attacked. I can be persecuted, and I take it in stride after a mini freak out and catastrophizing, and then I take it in stride. But just reading that, what's it like to own a car built by a madman, makes me want to leave. Makes me just want to get beamed up. Makes me want to take it to the streets and just wander the streets of probably LA and San Francisco for the rest of my life. Just wander around, eating off of the fruit of, not the land, the fruit of the dystopia, right? The fat of the dystopia. But I brushed it off. I had watched videos of Musk at Tesla events, and he seemed like a poor man's Steve Jobs. What? Poor man's? Much like the Apple CEO, I saw Musk as a front man rather than the designer. And see how they have to denigrate Musk? And again, I don't believe this is real and this idea that he's the world's richest man and all of this crazy. No, what I'm saying is official fiction. You see how the article has to denigrate him and call him a poor man's Steve Jobs, right? Meanwhile, official fiction, Elon Musk is worth way more than Jobs was. I guess Apple's bigger than Tesla, so you got that there. But soon it was impossible to ignore him. The pearl clutching, by the way. Yeah, but tanks are built by well-intentioned men. That's right. Soon it was impossible to ignore him. My wife and I were horrified. Oh! As he publicly adopted right-wing positions, with his endorsement of Donald Trump for U.S. president. Well, you're from Europe, motherfucker, not you, Razvan, the person in the article. What do you care? And then for the far-right AfD in Germany, as well as his support for Tommy Robinson. It seems so odd to us that a man who would champion electric vehicles would hold such reactionary views. Because remember, to drive an electric car is to affirm that one is morally superior, right? So if a person actually internalizes a belief that to drive an electronic vehicle can far morality to the driver, then how could a person who actually is responsible, purportedly responsible for the design and manufacturer of said vehicle, possibly have these what are termed to be immoral views? See, this is the propaganda, and I see it. It's just, again, this is why I say there's no such thing as common sense. It's like I'm playing poker and my opponent's cards are face up, but most people don't see the little nuance and these little phrases. The turning of a phrase that plays upon. Well, I'm spitting all over the place. That plays upon what's already been sunk into our psychology. It's been programmed there ahead of time, see? And the people who believe they're MAGA or right-wing, they have the programming in their mind. It all gets activated, but they are soothed by laughing and ridiculing and mocking Biden's poopy diaper. And now that Trump's in office, they can just, puff their chest out and strut around and laugh, see? The people who believe themselves right-wing as a group, as long as they get to laugh at it and mock it and call it ridiculous and then blame Biden's poopy diaper and Bidenomics, they're happy to see the state of America. They're happy. And let me ask you this. If they were unhappy, why do they have big smiles on their faces and why do they laugh at everything? Now, there was a time, when it looked like maybe Trump wasn't going to get elected, or it was at least in doubt, when maybe they weren't laughing and ridiculing quite as much, right? But how are they, they claim to love America and the greatest country and want to see the Democrats defeated. Again, official fiction. Normie bozo politics. but then just laugh at the meme culture and the meme society. While when they see the visage of Trump, the meme of Trump with his hair blown back, his ties flying in the wind, he's striding confidently, and there's like an italicized caption. They identify with that. They are bold by extension. They are heroic by extension. They're literally living through him in that moment. He represents them, or at least how they are now emboldened to feel powerful within themselves. Because remember, the right-wing folks are the people who are more set up to need to be directed by a strong authority or a daddy, dare I say. So they need to be given permission to feel all powerful, all knowing within themselves. They need something outside of them to enable them to feel that way. See, that's what they need, right? Wait a minute. I started to notice a shift in the Tesla owners group on Facebook, because now we're in a culture. See, all the Tesla drivers, they're a community. Having not owned an electric car before. Oh, yeah, hours are about to restart. Let me make sure if the DOT man's already here, then there's really no point in starting the clock and leaving. He's already here. Nope. I'm guessing the DOT man gonna get here about 6, maybe 6:30. Oh. All right, hang on. We're waiting on the hours to restart. I'll let y'all see this if I can make sure there's no. Wait a minute. I forget that I can do this with. This is way better. YouTube is. Hey, they just restarted. I thought you get to see the moment when they all restarted, but we didn't get to see it. It doesn't matter. On duty. See, I'm working past 7:20. If they ask me why did I start my clock, I say because I'm not working past 7:20 tonight. That's why. And that's 14 hours from now. So, shame on the mess. That's why. Now let's log a DVR, an inspection, or we'll forget. So let's do that real quick. Log in an inspection, create DVIR, vehicle, pre-trip inspection, safe to drive, next, certify and submit. I just put my name on the safety equipment. Create DVR, select trailer, pre-trip, safe to drive, put your name on it. And the gout's kicking this morning, by the way. Gout's kicking. Blah, blah, blah. Facebook group. Having not owned an electric car before, the group was a useful resource. People were very helpful and even recommended places to stop off during our European holiday. When Musk's politics began to grow more extreme, members began to post that they no longer felt comfortable owning a Tesla, and then others would respond, "We're not interested in your politics." I saw someone giving stick to the Guardian and even calling the BBC Stalin, which was funny for me, as I always personally felt it went too far the other way. I started to reflect on owning a Tesla, and it was my daughter who made. Oh, and now here comes the daughter, because the daughter is the one who's got the wisdom. Remember, folks, in the inverted society, here in heaven or hell realm, presently manifesting as a hell realm. Remember, it's the child or the daughter that she's all knowing and all wise compared to the parents, and then the younger. So if there was more than one child, it would actually be the youngest child would be the most wise. So here comes the wise daughter to set the. Remember, the husband's being set straight, not the wife. Wifey's off, earning the money. She's a head of the household, de facto head of the household, out bringing home the bacon, and he's got dinner on the table. When she's a complete role reversal, right? Complete and total role reversal. What's up, young Jim? But my daughter, who made the case for selling it, and it was his daughter. She's probably off at university. Remember, he talked about taking their former estate car back and forth to university. So she's been completely, indoctrinated with the left wing, and not liberal. There's nothing wrong with actual liberals, folks. Actual motherfucking liberals are these people who we now believe are becoming right wing. They say, well, look at Bill Maher. He's becoming red-pilled and conservative. No, he's not. He's a liberal, meaning he's an actual American who wants what's best for America, but has different opinions than a person who considers themselves right-wing. He's not becoming conservative. What is considered left versus right, it's progressive, it moves. It's moving towards him. He hasn't changed. Same thing with Adam Carolla. People think Adam Carolla is this huge conservative, lifelong conservative. He's from Los Angeles. He's from the San Fernando Valley. And he's in entertainment. They don't produce conservatives. He's a liberal, so-called. Nothing wrong with actual liberals. We're talking about leftists. So the daughter's a leftist, right? So she's like, you got to sell that fucking thing. A Nazi, that's a Nazi car. The daughter's like, get that Nazi car the fuck out of here if you think you're going to see your future grandchildren. I'll tell you what, if you think, this is the daughter, if you think your future grandchildren, right? Meanwhile, we're coming up on empty egg carton, probably. Clock's ticking on empty egg carton, ma'am. But yeah, she's like, you think I'm bringing my grandbabies over here to ride around in that Nazi car? You got another thing coming, pops. Yeah. So now, see, he's in an emotional quandary, right? Again, less than masculine, right? And I'm not going to call it feminine. That's an insult to ladies. It's less than masculine. So when you hear a man refer to the behavior of another male, let's call it what it is, a male. When you hear someone refer to the behavior of a male as feminine, no, it's not. He's not behaving like a woman. He's not being feminine. He's lacking masculinity. See, this guy lacks masculinity. See. Yeah. But judging by the people posting secondhand cars in the Facebook group, prices have been dropping. See, now we're going to get into the peer pressure to sell, the daughter's demands and threats, and then we're also going to get into, well, wait a minute, this asset is quickly depreciating. You know, is this the time to get out of this thing? So he feels trapped. He cycled to meet a friend recently. Again, lack of masculinity, right? Although I would say not, riding a bicycle does not lack masculinity, but it does sort of paint the picture of a panty waist. And he cycled there because he's environmentally friendly, and perhaps he now is less comfortable being seen in public in the Tesla, right? This has never happened. None of this ever happened. This is completely made up. Yeah, completely made up. I cycled to meet a friend, and with a helmet on. Certainly he had his helmet on. And, I might wear a bike helmet if I chose or rode a bike. Who knows? Protect the old grape. I cycled to meet a friend recently, and he took one look at my reasonably nice bike and said, "It's probably worth more than your Tesla now." No, he did not. No, he did not. Someone else said to me he was interested in buying a Tesla, but he was going to wait until they were virtually worthless, just like during the oil crisis in the 70s. There were some people who just really liked big gas-guzzling cars, who loved that the gas prices went up because they just went out and bought a bunch of cars that they wanted for like $100, right? Or, $50 back then or whatever. This is insane. And this, when I talk about on here, I come on here and sometimes I talk about how the general public is not processing data discretely for themselves, individually, and that they actually are dependent upon ideas being prepackaged and sent to them via push notification, whether literal or figurative or both. This is what I'm talking about. This article is programming the audience in real time. Not that anybody reads anymore, but this is what it's doing. This is programming. It's a shame, as in every other way, the car is a perfect match for our lifestyle. And this is the politicization of everything, where, under capitalism, the fact that a company built a car that meets this guy's needs, it meets his preferences, he considers it to be worth the money, it's a good value, that is supposed to carry the day. Nothing about politics is ever supposed to enter into the actual, now it's politics, is going to become the number one factor, see? And this is making people crazier than they already are. People are not supposed to be this way, as I continue to spit all over the stream. All right, we're about to get out of here. If I was buying a car from scratch, I would boycott the company. But we are where we are. For now, I'm going to have to keep hold of it. Next time, maybe I'll get a European electric vehicle. Because, see, now we're sticking it to Trump over the tariffs. Now we're saying, oh, well, I bought an American car. I'm in Europe. So, now maybe we will be protectionist, right? Fear mongering. Um, who knew owning a car would prove so difficult? And I guess that's the end of the fake article, the wholly invented article. And now we have stories, political pendulum swinging back toward the Dems. And as we know, this always evens out over time. You had MAGA, some of which are low key, undercover, swagger and MAGA swaggers, in the so called truth community. And they, they've been swaggering around with their chest out, talking about, I've even seen live streams where these people are talking about where do the Dems go from here, more or less considering them a vanquished foe. And I went in, and this was Chalkbody Online did this, Drew World Order, shout out to him. And I went into his comments and I said, if they want a playbook, they should probably talk to the Democrats back right after George W. Bush, when the Republican Party was the laughingstock of the entire world. And, it was, up until that point, had never been more shameful to be viewed as an American on the world stage. Right. Republican. Or just watch what happened, which was mainly time heals all wounds, they say. Embattled Democrats, reason to hope. And it's always evens out. The Democrats push ahead, then here come the Republicans. And they push, here come the Democrats. And here come the Republicans. They push, it never ends. They're equals. Republicans and Democrats are equipped over time. Always. We know this. The party has spent the early months of the year soul-searching the causes of a bitter election defeat and fighting internally over President Trump and his fierce effort to dismantle the traditional workings of Washington. Well, Washington stinks, okay? Washington stinks. And maybe that's just Baltimore I'm smelling, but it stinks. But Democrats this week have watched the political pendulum swing in their way. The Pigeon Peckers. In Wisconsin, they easily won a hard-fought battle for a coveted seat on the state Supreme Court, despite a massive spending push by Elon Musk. And of course, the Dems are most likely going to take control of the Congress again in the midterms. See, again, another way to even out the power. See, yet another way to even out the power. Now, I would say at this point, presidential approval ratings are meaningless. It says in Washington, Trump's approval rating fell to a new low. I don't think that even means anything at this point. That's just my opinion. In Florida, they put a dent in the Republicans' comfortable edge in 2 deep red House districts despite a late intervention from the president. And on Capitol Hill, I love this. This is hilarious. On Capitol Hill, Senator Cory Booker, Democrat, New Jersey, captured Democrats' attention with a record-breaking 24-hour speech railing against Trump's policies. And guess whose record they say he broke? That's Strom Thurmond, that supposed noted racist who had been, he died in, like in his 90s or whatever, and been in the Congress for 60 years or whatever the fuck it was. Apparently, he had the old record at like just over 24 hours. And then we're supposed to believe he did this without bathroom breaks. I'm thinking maybe the stadium pal was affixed to his physicality. To be sure, the party is still in an exceedingly difficult position, unable to effectively fight back against a Republican trifecta in Washington and facing widespread frustration from its voters. Oh no. Maybe young Jim, maybe a diaper, right? Maybe a callback to Biden's poopy diaper. I don't think the number 2 would be the thing. I think, in my opinion, if you know what a stadium pal is, that makes way more sense than... it seems to me like we're getting into fetish territory if one is actually going number 1 in a diaper, right? Who is otherwise physically capable. I'm assuming they would just go stadium pal. Or just fucking YOLO and hold it, right? At his age, that seems unlikely. Meanwhile, I'm about to go roll out to the truck stop. Appreciate y'all helping me get my day in trucker hell started. Let's see what heaven or hell, or a combination thereof, the day Poor tens. I'm glad you're laughing out loud, young Jim. I'm happy that I'm able to entertain you, sir, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I just sound that way. Nothing I can do about that. Thanks for watching. Bye. Come on.